From Hastings High School in Hastings, Minnesota, we present the second semifinal in Section 4 4A girls basketball. The Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders, the number 1 seed in Section 4 4A and a top 10 team most of the year, take on the upstart Tartan Titans, hoping to build off of their dramatic victory over White Bear Lake earlier this week. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Peden, joined by Tia Elbert, the Tartan legend who scored over 3,000 points, still a school record, and a graduate of the University of Indiana. Or is it IU actually? Indiana University.
Indiana University, IU.
In other words, she's a smart cookie. And we've got a few smart cookies on the floor tonight in this second matchup. Cretin-Derham Hall, they have a strong senior class, an up-tempo team, and a balanced unit with the likes of Haley Moore, Autumn Mendez, and their big name, Frannie Hottinger.
Well, as you know, Mike, it's March. Anything can happen. So if Cretin wants to win this game, they're still going to have their leaders come out, play hard, play like they've been playing the whole season, and come out on top.
And they stumbled a bit, losing to Stillwater and Woodbury to end the regular season. Got a big win over North St. Paul. Like you said, with sections, with playoffs, everything goes out the window. A chance for a fresh start, and Cretin hoping to take advantage of that here.
Right, and it's also a huge chance for Tartan as well. They're the underdog. Coming into this game, they have nothing to lose, so they have to play like that. Come out, playing strong, playing hard, and take it right to them.
And speaking of Tartan, Tia will not be a homer for this team, but she knows a little bit about them. Tartan has been up and down all year. They've got a great sophomore class, so it's a young team that a lot of coaches believe will make the foundation for a strong competitor in the years to come. And it's easy to make that proclamation when you've got folks like Ysareia, Chevre, Nevaeh Meister from three-point range, and Kendra Ekereke hit the game winner against White Bear Lake.
Yes, Tartan's a very young team. With young teams, you kind of have growing pains, but it seems like it's starting to come together a little bit for Tartan, especially with that huge win over White Bear.
We'll see who comes out on top. The winner faces Woodbury next Thursday. We'll have the starting lineups in a moment. This is high school girls basketball. Mike Peden and Tia Elbert with you here at Hastings High School. I guess a different perspective up here, but at least the plus side of that is we won't have anyone blocking us in front of the bench, so we'll be able to see what's going on.
Right.
Now, we mentioned in the prior section game with Stillwater and Woodbury about what it's like, the environment here. What did you play for section playoffs? Because I know the sites sometimes change every year.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you get to play?
We played at East Ridge, which is probably a similar facility to this. You know, East Ridge probably has one of the best facilities in the state of Minnesota, if I must say so myself. So it wasn't too different. The one thing I liked about East Ridge is that everything seemed a lot closer than it was. So it seemed like the fans were kind of right on top of you, kind of that college aspect feel.
And East Ridge hosting the 4-3A bracket this year. So Matamidi, Como Park, Hill Murray, and De La Salle got to the semis in that group. So Tartan is the underdog here. They had a strong start to the year and had a little bit of difficulty in Metro East play, but you know, it's their first year under head coach Justin Burgess, who has quite a few credentials. He played college at MSU Moorhead and won a state tournament with Minneapolis North back in 2003. And so anybody who comes out of North and has a state tournament title to their credit, you're going to take them seriously.
Right. North is, they've always had one of the premier basketball programs, especially on the men's side. It's always a joy to watch them play, too. They're probably one of my favorite teams to watch in high school basketball.
They become a favorite of mine again since Larry McKenzie took over. And Cretin-Derham Hall, they've had a good couple of years with the likes of Mendez and Hottinger and Ettinger. And they don't have any superstars, but they have some great, quick athletes.
And sometimes that's all you really need. It would be nice to have a superstar that you can rely on in those big moments, but as long as you play as a team, especially at this level, that's going to be the biggest thing for you.
Right. Indeed. We'll take a look at Hopkins. We talked about them being the standard bearers. The last couple of years in 4A, they came up short in the state tournament, finishing second. Last year to Elk River with Gabby Hawk and that big senior class. And the previous year with Minnetonka, Chrissy Carr's last season before she transferred to Manhattan. And we certainly wish her luck as she goes for another state title before going to K-State. And Courtney Fredrickson,
right,
who is still at Wisconsin. I've had a chance to see both teams, and for Tartan, they're erratic, but you never know. If Maester can knock down threes, that can get things going, and Ysareia Chevre, she is a stud.
Yeah, she's very good. I remember watching her play when she was younger. She would come up through some of the camps that we would hold at Tartan, and she came to like my chest, and now she like tower overs me, so it's kind of funny.
It's funny, I spoke with Tartan earlier this week, and all of her teammates said, here's this kid who towered over everybody. Now everyone else is caught up to her, but
right.
Well, I guess kind of reminds me of you, just a very talented, humble personality. One of my favorite moments was against Stillwater. Mid-jump, she's moving the ball up court. Everyone thinks she's going to shoot a jumper. She saw Kendra Ekereke open down low, fires a dish to her, so I called it the fake. Fakes the shot, dishes to Ekereke. She gets a three-point play. And the way she pulled it off, Kendra said it looked more natural than it felt.
Right. I bet.
So the starters for both teams for the visiting Tartan Titans as the 5 seed, it's Katia Cummings, number 3, the sophomore, Nevaeh Maester, number 10, the sophomore, Gabby Hicks, number 15, the senior, Ysareia Chevre, number 21, the sophomore, and Kendra Ekereke, number 23, the junior. Cretin-Derham Hall will start Justina Butler, number 1, the senior, Haley Moore, number 10, the senior, Autumn Mendez, number 13, the senior, Frannie Hottinger, number 22, the junior, and Lizzie Ettinger, number 24, the senior. Frannie Hottinger getting some D1 looks with her performances this season. She's put up some big numbers, wins or loss. And for Tartan, they're doing it a bit shorthanded. TK Mason got hurt, couldn't play, a couple of other folks. So Tartan's been having to do it with a short roster, but everyone's saying this is the team to look out for in the next couple of years.
They're really young, and so they do have youth on their side.
The tip will go to the Raiders, who are wearing the purple. Winner will get Woodbury on Thursday. This is Autumn Mendez. Now, I'll be curious to see what kind of start Cretin has here. Butler missing the runner, because the last time I saw them, Stillwater, everything went their way. Cretin got blown out by 28.
Wow.
I did not see, and no one saw that performance coming. But at the same time, it's a loss you can live with. It was at the end of the season, and Maester straddled on the baseline, out of bounds. You can live with it. Now you don't have to worry about Stillwater because they're out.
Right.
But at the same time, you knew that this is a potential section opponent, so yeah, you'd like to win, but you're kind of taking notes, as you can attest to, when you get toward the end of the season and you face someone that you might meet again in the postseason.
Right. Everyone's a potential competitor when it comes to being in March and being in the section tournament. You can't take anyone lightly.
Well, look at Anoka in 2011, 2-24, and they end up going to state.
Wow.
And that galvanized the program. They haven't won any state titles, but they have been a perennial contender in Section 7-4A since.
Sometimes you just got to set the precedent.
All it takes is one, yeah. And I talked to some of these Tartan players as Haley Moore gets a steal about Lizzie Ettinger. Well, I didn't talk to them about Lizzie Ettinger, but
Great
she gets
shot.
it started with a three-pointer. About establishing their own legacy, because Tartan, after you graduated, had some, kind of down years. They've been slowly building it up. Ysareia Chevre mentioned that another Zaria Whitlock, was her inspiration, but a lot of folks look up to what you did.
Yeah, Zaria was a great player. I got to play with her. I think she was an 8th, 9th grader when I was playing, and so it was amazing to kind of see her grow as a player, and I was so happy when I found out that she was able to go to SIU Edwardsville, which was huge for her.
Southern Illinois? That's going to be a foul on Maester. That will be her first.
She really came into her own and grew as a player, because there was a lot of people that probably didn't think early on, 8th, 9th grade, that she was a D1 player, but over the years she proved everybody wrong and did just that.
And we're having a discussion perhaps on whether or not it was an intentional or flagrant. No. Okay, it was whether or not it was a shooting foul. So it's a side out for the Raiders. That's what it was. Like, that makes sense. I didn't think there was anything malicious about that. Although with Jeff Teague knocking over Ricky Rubio last night, you can never be too careful.
You know, he definitely did that on purpose, but I don't think he did it that hard for Rubio to go flying like that.
There probably was some theatrics involved, but
that's why Rubio didn't run at him. But he definitely did it on purpose, but I don't think he was trying to hurt him or anything like that.
No, but I think most players would tell you you probably shouldn't elbow someone like that. You just don't put yourself in that position.
True.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too smart.
He shoulder shoved him. That's what I would call that. He didn't really throw anything. He just, gave him a shoulder shove.
Maybe I'm just too nice, but I'm one of those folks that it's like, don't put yourself in a position to get yourself ejected.
Sometimes, though, I mean, you saw Jimmy Butler's tweets. You got to send a message. And I don't know if you've ever been on the court, but sometimes I'm not condoning that at all. You can do it in a different way, but sometimes you have to send a message.
You don't want to see me on the court. And that's the third foul on Tartan in this possession.
Tartan's going to have to play more sound defense and keep their hands off. They're not really moving their feet right now.
So Frannie Hottinger will go back to the line. Hottinger, and Chevre picks up her second, so she'll have to sit for a while, most likely. Hottinger had 25 in the win over North St. Paul. And
if that is Chevre's second, that is not a good sign for Tartan. She's the star of this team. They need her on the floor.
And this has been an issue with the Titans throughout the year. Okay, they changed the foul.
Okay.
So it's not on Chevre. Hottinger splits again, but the Raiders have built a 5-0 lead.
Oh, great
Ekereke.
Move. She can't get the finish. That was an amazing crossover.
Mendez for three. That's short. Butler. And that's going to be a foul on Meister.
I know Tartan wants to be aggressive. That's kind of like their mantra as a team is to be aggressive, but they might have to take it back just a little bit.
Well, that's the second on Meister, and as I was going to say, that has been an issue with this team all season. They have a short roster, again, with injuries, but they play aggressive, and it can get them into foul trouble. It cost them a chance at beating Matamidi in the first meeting of the year in Metro East Conference play. But with young teams, that discipline will come with time. Well, they're getting some nice moves in, but they're not finishing.
And those are the bunnies that are going to have to finish if they want to at least be in this game. I know it's early on, but those are the baskets that you have to hit.
Frannie Hottinger finishes there. And then Cretin commits the foul. It will go on Butler. So on that story about how you don't want to see me on the court, I still never forget this. A few years ago, I brought you in for a Lynx game, and Kayla McMorris was interning for Swish Appeal.
I remember that.
And I mentioned a story about how I played pickup once in college, and Kayla McMorris hit the floor laughing. Ekereke missed the three-pointer, and then you followed suit.
That was pretty funny. I mean,
and the reason they were laughing, well, they're probably not laughing at Lizzie Ettinger and Cretin's transition play. Tartan calls timeout. The reason you two were laughing was because of how you two were trying to envision me playing any sort of basketball.
Mike, to be honest with you, I couldn't see it. So that's why it was so funny. I still can't see it, but that's okay.
Especially when I messed up my ankle and I couldn't run. I think that was the kicker. Then one of my old friends made a quip about how you can't play defense, and then you two were on the floor. And
right. Good times.
Good times. And, well, Kayla, I think, just finished up her career over at Wisconsin.
She had a great career at Wisconsin. I love Kayla. I mean, that whole North Tartan team, those are, they're my sisters for life. And so I always keep in touch with them. I'm actually going to try to visit Kayla sometime next month. So I'm hoping that can happen, catch up with her, and just kind of celebrate her career because she did have a great one.
Send her a hello for me.
Will do.
Kayla McMorris is winning a state title at Park Center. And I'll never forget it because she had to sit out for the drama-filled portion of it. She had fouled out, and didn't matter. The freshman got the win over Marshall. And I know you didn't have a state tournament title, but I'd say basketball has opened a lot of pathways for you as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it would be nice to have a few championships on my belt.
Who wouldn't want those?
But it wasn't in the card for me, I guess.
Well, it's tough. Now with Tartan, Katia Cummings. Well, hang on, we've got Chevre going to Ekereke, and that gets Tartan on the board. Katia Cummings goes by Tia, and when her father told that to me, I'm thinking to myself, another Tia at Tartan. I wonder, well, considering how the last one worked out. He's hoping one day that Katia will score as many points as you did, but even if she doesn't, she's had a great sophomore season.
And I'm sure he's still proud of her.
Well, and she can knock down threes too if she gets going, but right now Frannie Hottinger, she's on fire inside the paint. She's up to 6 already.
Right, Tartan just looks kind of stagnant on offense. That one bucket that they did have, they were getting a little more motion going, which led to the easy basket.
Mims missing the three-pointer. And the dead ball rebound will go to the Raiders. Moore, elbow J, missed everything. And Haley Moore, she'll be continuing her athletic career in college. She's going to Division I JUCO, Iowa West, I believe. And basketball, a big part of her family. Her father, Colin, an assistant coach for Johnson, who took part in the Twin Cities Boys Championship today. Chevre draws a foul on Mendez.
Those basketball genes seem to run in the family.
You want to know why?
Why is that?
Look at the number she's wearing.
I don't have my glasses. What number is that?
I'll give you a minute. You'll see it eventually. The viewers at home will know what I'm talking about. Actually, you know what? Just look at my score sheet. Right here.
Oh, 21. Of course. I should have known that.
Because you were going on about how the number 21 is synonymous with greatness.
Yeah, it's legendary, honestly.
So, and I would say for Ysareia, it's a pretty bold move to be taking your number.
Yeah, I mean, she's done pretty well. I mean, she hasn't scored quite as many points, but I'm proud of the way she's handling the number 21.
Well, she's only
I will
a
say
sophomore.
that.
You
Exactly.
got to cut her some slack here. It takes a while to get up to 3,000.
It does. I'm not sure. Do you know where she's at right now?
I don't really count. I don't ask the coaches that. Not because I don't care. It's just coaches and players, they're not thinking about milestones the way we do. And
only after the fact.
You're right. Well, when Justin Burgess, he really wants to make it a point of emphasis this year about not letting any match get into their head. And so, much like Colin Moore Johnson, he's going to be the guy that says every game is the biggest game of the year. You don't look past anybody. Gabby Hicks missing the three-pointer. Ekereke got bumped, and
not looking past anyone, though, is probably the biggest lesson that people will probably learn in March Madness, regardless of what level of play you're at, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's the NBA. Because teams are different. I don't know what it is. It must be something in the water, something different that they drink in March. But things just turn out different. Teams are ready to go. They want to prove people wrong. And it shows in the way they play.
Mendez for three. Short. Well, look at what Woodbury did tonight.
Right.
Tia Cummings drives and a little out of control. Ekereke is there for the putback. Cretin looking to leak out. Haley Moore.
Wow. With the circus shot. I don't even know if she saw the basket on that one.
Well, that makes up for the air ball in the big way. Gabby Hicks can't bank it off the glass. Cretin up 13-6.
Oh.
And another foul on the Titans. I know we're a little further up, but what do you think of these seats?
I would prefer to be up front. I actually really need glasses. I had glasses, which I lost, and I have not gotten a new pair since. So I can see for the most part, but it is a struggle, I will say that.
Well, you should have told me. We could have set up down there.
It's all right.
So
I'll manage.
You either can't see or you get blocked behind one of the team's benches.
Basically. Can't win for losing, Mike.
Page goalie on the floor for the Raiders, number 14. Dishes to Hottinger. And Cretin's going to feed the hot hand as long as Hottinger is it. Chevre will shoot 2.
It's kind of how the cards are falling, too. Cretin's actually been playing some really good team ball, and I think Hottinger has just kind of got the benefit of that. They've been moving the ball around, getting some motion going, not being stagnant, and it ends in a bucket for them.
And as you see, Tartan starting to pick up the aggression, moving the ball, and now they're drawing fouls. That's the second on Mendez, and so both players with key contributors in early foul trouble. Both teams, I should say. Meister for Tartan and now Mendez for Cretin.
Definitely, and Tartan, they're going to have to make their free throws. They got into the line a few times. Had a couple misses here and there, but if they want to be in this game, as you can see, the game
they
early
just step
on,
up the hustle. Who needs free throws when you go after the old boards like they did, and Chevre gets 2 points the old-fashioned way.
Get it how you live it.
Hottinger with a little crossover and one. Cretin-Derham Hall won a state tournament title back in 1999, and Chevre's going to take a breather. The foul is on Mims, her second. And Dejanay Copeland, number 35, Dejanay McKinney, I should say, out on the floor for the Titans. Hicks to Ekereke. Let's see how Tartan functions without their floor leader. And I think it's more out of strategy than foul trouble here. Ekereke goes up.
All right, great shot. That shot kind of bailed Tartan out, but they're going to have to get some offense going. Get some sets, get rolling in their offense, or at least attack the basket.
That's what Hottinger does. Gets her own miss and draws the foul. And this could be a problem for the Titans here.
Yes, it can. They already have Cretin in the bonus in the first half. Cretin is taking advantage of their time at the free throw line. They have to find a way to get stops without fouling.
Frannie Hottinger. We mentioned Sarah Scalia among the juniors who have made a big impression this year. Frannie Hottinger, she's going to be another player to watch in that 2019 class. Although she'll lose a lot of talent around her to graduation, so we'll see how her leadership skills evolve, but she's looking pretty good right now.
Right.
Gabby Hicks
Great
goes up and scores.
That's what Tartan needs. They have to keep trying to get to the basket, keep getting movement going. On the defensive end, don't foul, and they are going to be fine.
That was close. Chanel Anderson-Manning and Ekereke go at it. Hicks pulls up.
Nice. Great back-to-back baskets by Hicks.
And then a foul. No, a jump. It is a foul.
Hicks is taking advantage at Cretin running out undisciplined on the closeout, giving them a pump fake going right by them to finish at the basket.
That's the second on Hicks. And again, the way Tartan plays, especially when you have crews that call it a little more tightly, that can be a disadvantage. Bonus time for the Raiders. Sydney Jackson blanks. Chevre back on the floor for the Titans. Cretin fans wanted a carry.
She kept her hand on top of the ball.
And there's Meister. Ill-advised pass there, didn't have enough separation. And Hottinger can't complete the drive there.
You know, Mike, she didn't make it there, but I love the way Hottinger is attacking the basket. I think she's really taking advantage of the loopholes and the Titans' defense.
Oh, and she has 10 points already. Anderson Manning missed the drive as well. Chevre can't hang on to the rebound, though. And Hottinger will take a breather. Again, when it comes to depth, I think Cretin has the edge, and that could make the difference here. Butler, kick out. Edinger for three. Off the heel. And the rebound to Ekereke. Tartan settles down. Hicks fakes the three. Cummings sees an opening. Goes up. No good.
That was a good take. She came up short. She can't hang her head. Just get back on defense and get a stop.
Well, you can't make them all, even when you do score 3,000 points.
Right. There probably was a lot more misses than makes, I'll tell you that.
Well, it was Paige Goalie who drives and scores, but I think it was Michael Jordan who said recounted how many game-winning shots he missed in his career.
No one remembers those, though. That's the nice part about it.
Well, to add to that, I don't think anyone but me would remember that Maya Moore was once held scoreless in a WNBA game.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It happened in her rookie season against San Antonio, who is now the Las Vegas Stars. Cummings missed the three-pointer.
Do you think that could ever happen again?
Probably not.
She's going to have a long career.
Butler missed the corner three. And Cretin can't hang on to it. 22-14. Raiders up by 8. 7:40 to go. Yeah, Maya Moore, 4 titles. She'll probably win about 10 more.
Exactly. The Lynx are ridiculous. I love watching them play.
There's one perk about you back home is that you can watch the Lynx again. You can go to their games again.
Actually go to a game, exactly.
Well, maybe I can get you a credential again.
Oh, that would be nice. Those are some of the best seats I think I've ever had.
Oh, Ekereke lost her pivot there. You're not the only one. A lot of folks are asking me, could I help you out? It's amazing what happens when you start winning titles.
Right.
But they become role models. Jackson started her career at Como Park before moving over to Cretin, and another one of those speedsters like we talked about. And with Jackson and Pratt now in the same conference, those Suburban East track meets should be fun to watch in the spring.
It'll definitely be pretty interesting.
We'll have to warm up your track skills again, or brush you up on your track commentary.
I feel like that's really tough.
I want to see those races with Cretin and Stillwater and the relays and the sprints, Pratt and Jackson.
Right.
And Pratt is hanging around because some of her best friends are on Tartan's team, and Tartan had the night off because a snowstorm delayed their game with Simley as Edinger misses the runner.
Tartan is getting a few stops, but they can't seem to get the rebound. It doesn't count if you don't get the rebound.
Stillwater late in the second half. And I'm going to hang on to that story as Hicks picks up her third foul. So free throws coming for Edinger. In the case of Pratt, when she got her 1,000th point, Tartan had the night off, so several of the players made the trip to Stillwater to cheer on Alexis when she scored a 1,000th point. They even brought out a sign.
That's amazing. I mean, that's what it's all about, too. On the floor, it may not seem like it, but it's really kind of like they say in the NBA, it's a brotherhood. Basketball is just a brotherhood, sisterhood all together. I mean, you're going at each other's necks because you want to win, but at the end of the day, it's all love.
And Alexis, you can imagine how much she was beaming about that gesture. And this was the same team that beat Stillwater 87-80 in their regular season meeting. But Alexis is one of them, even if she doesn't wear the blue and white.
Right.
Meister drives to the lane and scores. Tartan, they're still in striking distance. Again, I'm wondering how the foul situation is going to impact them, but they haven't been blown out here. They're only down by 8.
Great steal. That's the type of defense Tartan wants to play. They play great defense. They moved their feet, kept their hands off, did exactly what they needed to do, and they came up with the steal.
And that's going to go against Justina Butler. She's pleading her case with Mike Carnes, the former staffer at Richfield High School. He and I have run into each other many times at college games. When he's not officiating, he will help run the scorebook at Gopher women's basketball games. So a lot of these officials, and this is why I usually am pretty easy on them.
Right.
Most of them have other jobs or other duties, as Meister misses the three-pointer, because they all love the sport of basketball. Well, Ekereke, a little too strong there. Needed to be a little softer.
Well, she came up out of that rebound. I think it was 2 or 3 Cretin players right down there, and she came up with it somehow as Hottinger scores the basket at the other end.
Hottinger adds to her total. Cummings still can't get her going. And Hottinger
great, that's a great
again.
move. She saw the defense. Their momentum was carrying them one way. They were going for the block. She hits them with the pump fake. Easy basket. Great IQ.
Yep, pulls the juke move on Meister and makes her way in. And speaking of extended family, I saw a few Roseville players in attendance tonight. Roseville, of course, going on to the 4A section final where they'll play Champlain Park. Or not Champlain Park, Park Center. How about that? A 4-3. Meeting in the section final.
Wow.
That doesn't happen often. So Tartan down by 12 here. You get the feeling that this is the time, or this could be their make or break time, because they are the underdog here. How do they settle down and get back in this?
Well, hopefully they've gotten through the spell of the foul trouble, early on foul trouble. They've had a few defensive possessions that were perfect. They did exactly what they needed to do. What I'm saying that they're lacking is their transition defense. They're not getting back. They're not getting 5 players back. I don't even think they're getting 4 players back, and it's leading to Cretin getting easy baskets at the other end. So it really doesn't matter what they do on the offensive end if they give it right back up at the other end.
5:28 left in the first half. And, well, whoever gets out of this, we saw Woodbury can hang with the best of them. Rachel Hakes will make sure of that. But if Cretin gets out of this round and faces Woodbury, much like Woodbury getting a little taste of revenge on Stillwater, I think Cretin will feel as Chevre is fouled. I think Cretin would love another shot at Woodbury after they beat them by 1 to end the regular season.
You always have a bad taste in your mouth after you lose to a team.
Look at the Lynx. They lost in 2016 to the Sparks. And
right.
well, some folks will still say they may have been robbed by a bad shot clock call, and then I'll say, well, they missed an 8-second in Game 4. The point being, they won the next year, and I think that just made that championship even better. Because
especially
they were able to get one.
team.
Right. They got one against the team that beat them a year ago on a buzzer beater play, basically. Chevre gets the back end. That's the second foul on Hottinger. Cretin out of fouls to give. And Cummings will be called for the foul. Mendez to the line.
And that's unfortunate for Tartan. It seems to be that they would have got the steal right there. Chevre tipped the ball, but it went into the wrong player's hands, and now she's at the line.
That is the first personal on Tia Cummings. Autumn Mendez has not scored. And still is scoreless. 16 points in the win over North St. Paul, and one of the double-digit scores in Cretin's arsenal. And free throws coming for Tartan as Cretin is in the penalty. But
that was a great box out. She put her butt right on her player, which forced her player to try to jump over her, and you can't do that, which is why it's going at the other end.
I was a little flabbergasted at that arc on the part of Mendez. It just looked like it was going a little too hard, if you know what I mean.
Are you talking about on the free throw?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely long.
Didn't seem like it had that soft touch. Well, Ekereke gets the friendly bounce. And I didn't get a chance to speak with Kendra before this game because the semifinals are back-to-back, but when you get a buzzer beater to move on to the section semifinals, what does that do to your morale?
It definitely boosts it, especially if you feel like if you feel like you weren't supposed to win that game. Buzzer beaters are probably the best part about basketball. And then when you're the one hitting that buzzer beater. Not only does it boost team morale, but it boosts your individual morale as well. As you can see with Ekereke, she's been playing pretty good this game.
Meister draws the foul, and it will be 1-1 for the Titans. And even if Tartan doesn't get out of this round, that's a moment you're going to look back to. Because I think Tartan lost last year in the section quarters. So, foul is on goalie. The PA announcer said Mendez, and everyone's like, wait a minute. It helps to have a few hundred eyeballs.
Sometimes you still don't even get it right.
How true, how true. But the point about Tartan, you got a buzzer beater to get this far. And you can use that to build on next year. So maybe the goal was, hey, we're going to win a section game. As Cummings gets a steal, Tartan trying to, Cretin, I was going to say, trying to play the long ball there. Look out, Chevre.
Yep, they got it right that time.
Shovel their feet. 28-19, 4.5 to play.
Tartan just has to settle down right now, keep their body language looking good. I mean, they're only down by 9 points, 11 now. But if they can just get a few more baskets to fall at the other end and get back once again on defense and transition, that's where Cretin is hurting Tartan the most. Tartan is having trouble getting their players back on defense, and Cretin has honestly just gotten easy baskets.
Haley Moore scored the last basket for the Raiders. I'm starting to wonder if you were just lying to me when you told me how raw you were as a broadcaster, as a commentator.
How what?
How raw you were. Unpolished, raw.
Yeah, I'm very. This is my third game.
I think you've been lying to me this whole time. You probably have done 30.
I promise. This is my third game.
Meister missing the three-pointer. The high carom bounces to the hands of Angelina Mims. That will extend the possession for the Titans.
Tartan needs to keep moving on offense.
Pass deflected. Chevre. No good. But last touch by the Titans.
Like I said, on offense, Tartan is just really stagnant right now. It seems like they kind of do a motion offense with just a little bit of pick and roll, which is fine. They just have to make sure that they keep moving off the ball. They could probably get a few more backdoor cuts and get a few easy baskets.
We'll stay with the Raiders, 30-19 our score. Nothing called. And Tartan.
Looks like the refs are letting them play a little bit.
And I don't think Tartan was ready for that. Haley Moore sees a big hole and nothing, and that's what I call the double whammy. You miss the basket, you foul 80 feet away. Tartan goes to the line for free throws. Double whammy, no big bucks, and if you somehow get the reference, I will be amazed.
I don't.
It's an old game show called Press Your Luck.
Okay.
It was in the 80s, long before you were born.
Right.
So
okay.
That's why I wouldn't expect you to know that reference. But I am a nerd, so there. Well, then again, you were too. I think you graduated second in your class at Tartan.
Second or first. Might have been tied for first.
Either way, you proved that you were really, really smart.
Yeah. That really just comes down to a work ethic for the most part.
Chevre splits there. Well, you were smart enough to understand the importance of a good work ethic. I'll put it that way.
That's what it comes down to. Obviously, you do have to be intelligent. I was a good math student. Most people struggle with math. But, yeah, a lot of it has to do with work ethic.
Haley Moore gets the block on Cummings. And here's the funny thing. I was a journalism major at the U of M, and I loved math. Math is one of my strong subjects. The running joke, especially with writers and journalists, is that they run away from math. That's why they get into it. But in this, I love math, and in sports, you got to know math.
Yeah, a little bit.
You never know, because you never know when they'll have to calculate Trends and Chevre.
Great finish.
What a move with more in her face. See, I'm sure Chevre calculated the distance between her and the basket, and just like how she came in there for the steal, sports have a lot of math. Embrace it. But Tartan,
math is fun. I don't know why people don't like math.
I don't know either. Or when I'm watching game shows, you're trying to add up the score.
Right. And math is the only, like, subject that has one solution. You know what I mean? Like, it's either right or it's wrong. It's not, that's the best answer. It's either you're right or you're wrong.
Cummings not happy with herself as she commits the foul. Things are getting a little wild down there.
That's what happens. You have two teams going hard. I mean, you're going to get that every single game.
We kind of expected a game like this. Chanel Anderson Manning scored 4 in the win over North St. Paul. I have seen some strange free throw arcs in this game.
Whatever works, Mike.
Yours was pure, right? You hit them all the time?
No, I wish I was a better free throw shooter. It was a mental thing with me, though. But my form looked pretty good, except for I don't get any rotation on the ball. That's one thing that I noticed when I got to college. It didn't matter much in high school because it went in the basket a lot. But I don't get rotation on my shots.
Mims missing the three-pointer, and McKinney, not much she could do there. And with Tartan, I'm noticing a similar trend with Stillwater. Tartan having a hard time knocking down the three. And they have yet to make one. If those were going down, maybe a different story. But Tartan not backing down from their aggressive style of play. And it paid off. Sydney Jackson was harassed, lost the ball. But now Jackson comes
They got to get it across half court.
Right, there's the 10-second rule.
Got to go. And she is absolutely hounding her up at the top of the key.
Now, this is a game where I don't think anyone's personal space is being respected tonight.
No space bubbles here.
No safe space on this court. And here's a player you don't often see. In fact, number 5, I don't even have her on this roster. I'm going to have to go down and figure out who that is.
Yeah, Tartan with the foul trouble, they're having to go deep into their bench early on.
And Cretin, they've got a couple of players with 2 as well. Ekereke missing both. Here comes Chevre. Chevre getting a lot of looks already. I covered the game with Stillwater, and CCO had a photographer out there. Tartan pressured on the inbound. They're going to leak out, and Jackson will get the finish.
And so that's such a very bad possession for Tartan. You never want to turn it over on the inbound play and have them have an easy basket at the other end of the court.
And Cretin is one of those teams that loves to run. They have another transition chance again. Moore. No good. Ball is pinballing around down there. And
Tartan has got to come up with that ball. There's 4 players literally surrounding the ball. You have to hit the floor a little bit sooner, but there's no way that Cretin should have came up with the jump.
48.2 on the clock. Anderson Manning. Well, they get the rebound there, Tartan does.
Dang.
A lazy pass, Anderson Manning with the finish.
They got to settle down right here. 30 seconds left in the first half.
And that could be a microcosm of the youth versus experience battle.
Right.
Again, Tartan, a young team. A lot of them have played 2 or 3 years in varsity already, but you're going up against a strong senior class in Cretin-Derham Hall. Meister had nowhere to go, and she's down.
It doesn't look very good down at the other end. Macer is still on the floor.
Until Tartan gets the ball. Maester suffered a knee injury earlier this season. That kept her out against the Matamidi game. And she'll be looked at by the athletic trainer.
I'm not sure what happened there. She came up short on the layup. Seems like her leg might have went out because she didn't get the normal power that she usually gets on her shots.
2.2 to go, so there won't be a lot of time for Tartan here, but you certainly hope it's just a cramp or something. They're looking at her left knee now, seeing if they can get movement. And this is certainly not a player you want to lose.
Okay, she's up. That's a good sign. And she is able to put pressure on both legs.
And she's walking off, so maybe just a tweak. We hope that's the case.
Right.
As you and I were mentioning at the last game, you were fortunate enough to not suffer any serious injuries, but as you know in basketball, that's not always the case.
Especially in women's basketball.
Right, the ACLs in particular. If I never had to hear the term ACL tear again, I would be a happy man.
Really, because it's just really unfortunate how often it happens.
That brings us to the end of the first half. Cretin-Derham Hall up 36-22. Again, their experience and their depth, I think, benefactors in this game. And it helps when Frannie Hottinger is living up to her namesake, 14 points.
Seriously, she's been really hot. She's attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line, doing exactly what she needs to do as the leader on this Cretin-Derham Hall team.
And if you're Tartan, haven't hit your threes yet. We talked about this with Stillwater. Finding other ways to score. How does Tartan come back from 14 down to continue this upset run?
Well, one, they have to make their free throws. They're getting to the line, but they're coming up short on almost all of them. I'm not sure what their free throw shooting percentage is, but I know it's very poor right now. So you have to hit those. Those are free baskets. You have to hit the bunnies. The threes are going to come. Just keep being aggressive on defense. Keep your hands off. Play sound defense and get the stop.
Tartan 5 of 10 by my count.
50%. That's not very good, Mike.
No. So we'll continue to calculate our stats and come back for the second half. This is high school girls basketball. Cretin leads Tartan 36-22. Mike Peden and Tia Elbert with you. Cretin-Derham Hall leading Tartan 36-22. Frannie Hottinger, the leading scorer with 14 points. Lizzie Ettinger with 10 for the Raiders. For the Titans, Chevre with 8, Ekereke with 7. Those are your notables. Tia, we've seen glimpses out of Tartan that suggest they could make a comeback here, but they're going to have to play a little smarter and avoid the fouls that they were tagged with in the first half.
Definitely. They're in some foul trouble right now, so it's hard for Tartan's top players to play freely like they usually do. But, I mean, that's a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? That happens. You have to roll with the punches. You have to stay up. You have to play sound defensively. And things will come on offense.
And we talked about the officials often pulling double duty. Earlier this year, I had a chance to connect with the Tartan fan base, and when Chevre, Takara Mason, and Tia Cummings, when they're not playing hoops, they serve as referees at the Maplewood Rec Center in the Rec Ball League. I don't know if you ever did that.
I actually did that exact same thing. The city of Maplewood, it's a great opportunity. You referee games for, I did 5th graders at least. So that's interesting that they do that. It's a nice way to make money at a young age.
Nice way to make money, and I think it also helps instill respect in what the officials do, because I think, as you've found out, even with 5th graders, you don't realize how quickly you have to make decisions until you see it play out in real time.
Right. You're exactly right. Even at the 5th grade level, there's some things that you miss. You're not going to catch everything. And so it definitely gives you a little taste of what the officials have to deal with.
Right. And that's why, like I said, I'll voice my opinion on whether or not I agree with the call, but you will never hear me call for their firing or anything like that. I've got nothing but respect for what they do, because they got to put up with a lot of flack. And at this level, again, it's not like the pros where you can make a living as an official. But these are folks who love the game and want to be a part of it. Chevre with the rebound. Kick out. Hicks misses. And scramble for the ball. Won by Hicks. Can't get the bounce.
You got to hit that one.
Yeah.
You got the second chance opportunity. You're right there. Put that one in the basket.
Indeed. And I've noticed with Tartan tonight, no Aurora Roberts. At least not in the first half. But Gabby Hicks, even if she's not the best player on Tartan's team, she's a member of the National Honor Society.
That's what it's all about. I mean, it's called student athlete for a reason. Student first.
Mims missed the three-pointer. And Hicks will move on to Wisconsin Eau Claire to compete in track, and she will study graphic design.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, and you can attest to this too. You don't have to be the best basketball player, but playing those multiple sports, jump ball, tartan with the arrow, often helps you from sport to sport. And I think in your case, you chose the route of basketball, but getting to play other sports, it gives you something else to think about.
Yep, I mean, I played volleyball during the fall. I ran track during the spring.
Were you as fast as Pratt or Sydney Jackson?
I was pretty fast, but I was more of a jumper when I ran track. I did the triple jump. I did the long jump. It's mighty funny. I did the triple jump for the first time in the section finals. For the first time. I was done with all my other races. Didn't make it to any finals. And my coach was like, okay, you have one more event that you can do. What do you want to do? He's like, do you want to try triple jump? I'm like, sure. And I ended up placing 6th in the sections on my first time. So that was pretty amazing. And then from there, I just did triple jump from then on.
Chevre, what a move! Ekereke with the dime. Maybe that's a payback of sorts because
right. That was
as
good.
I told you earlier, Chevre found Ekereke back in the Stillwater game.
Exactly, and that was good offense by Tartan. They were moving. They caught Chevre on the cut to the basket, put the pass right on the money, and she finishes that.
And she completes the three-point play. Ysareia Chevre, part of a group that has played together since 7th grade. Mendez on the drive, no good. Gets her own rebound. Chevre, I think, got a piece of it. Comes up with the
rebound.
ball. Finds Hicks.
Oh.
The side fade, Ekereke for 3.
Short.
That's short. Mims is there for the putback.
That's exactly what Tartan needs. They need to get some quick baskets, build their momentum, and they can get right back into this game. It's a 9-point game right now.
And they don't get the steal there, but another example, they get the deflection.
Almost came with that turnover. This is good for the Titans. They just have to keep it rolling, keep up their defense, and keep scoring on offense.
And Angelina Mims, who got that putback when she's not playing basketball, works with special needs students and victims of teen bullying.
Wow, that's a great resume already.
Gabby Hicks picked up her 4th personal foul. For what, I'm not sure.
She's playing hard, I will say that.
Well, she knows this. If she doesn't come up to play tonight, this could be her last game as a basketball player. And like you said, when it comes to playoff time, those seniors really take it seriously because they know every game could be their last. Long skip from Butler to Ettinger, Frannie Hottinger.
And she scored that over 2 Titan players. They were all over her. She just settled down, put the ball up, and put it in.
I don't think you could find a more fitting name than Hottinger for an athlete like Frannie.
That's one of the best last names I've ever heard in my life.
And that's an incomplete pass. That'll bring up 3rd down and 8.
I think you got the wrong sport there, Mike.
That was kind of a reference to the Viking Saints. And then
yeah, I know. I'm
4th or
messing
3rd
with
and
you.
10. That's all right. Your Eagles won, so all is right.
That's all I care about.
Although, as you said, the NFC title game, that was the week you could take a breather.
Yeah, it was. I mean, my favorite team, hometown team gets to play each other in the NFC title. It didn't matter to me who won. I was going to be happy either way.
until 2 weeks later.
Exactly. And it was the Patriots. Thank you.
Right, Patriots. Everybody thought, this will be another ride. It'll be number 6
Exact. Great defense.
Meister,
Ah.
that has plagued Tartan all night. The threes.
Yes, and missing bunnies.
And the bunnies.
Tartan is all over the place right now, though. I love watching this brand of basketball. They just have to.
And again, it maybe comes down to the youth. You've got some vets, but again, they haven't played as long as Cretin has. And so finishing those plays, being more efficient.
Right.
We saw that with Stillwater tonight, although they missed a lot of threes. And
seems like it's getting a little chippy between Chevre and Hottinger.
Chevre picks up her second, and this is a rehash of the first half where Tartan got a lot of fouls early, kind of put them out of rhythm. Well, I know why Hottinger missed that one. And, well, you're right, it is getting chippy.
I mean, that's to be expected. It's sections, second half. As you can see from the first to the second half, Tartan has actually picked up their energy a lot more. And Cretin, I mean, they've maintained a bit, but they are kind of back on their heels right now as the Titans move up.
And Joe Lynch is calling a timeout, maybe a good time for it, so that emotions don't get out of hand. Did you ever have any teams like that? Because you played, if I recall, Tartan was in the Classic Suburban Conference at the time, now in the Metro East. But were there any conference rivals or even just section opponents that really grinded your gears?
Simley.
Simley.
I hated Simley.
Abby Kine, I think you played against her, right?
Yeah, she was a really good player. I loved her as a player. She was great. But Simley as a team, I hated Simley. The nice thing about it is we beat them most of the time, at least during my tenure.
But you still.
But
right.
yeah, I remember those games the most because it was the games that I was like more passionate about.
And then St. Paul Central with Willie Taylor, and then Sade Chapman.
And another thing with Central is that they were pretty much like there were other good teams in our section. I will say that, but they were like the team that was in our way each year. At least when I played. In our way, I know my senior year we lost in the quarterfinals. We lost a home game that we shouldn't have lost to Stillwater. But Central was the team that was always in our way. We could have made a run at a section championship, but we had to get past Central, and we just couldn't quite do that. And so every time we played them, I was always ready to play, but we couldn't get over that hump.
And Mims bounced it off her foot. Lost in the quarters to Stillwater, and it went all downhill from there, didn't it?
I guess so. That was one of the worst games of my life, too.
I think we've all had our moments, even as a fan.
Yeah.
Well, I give Abe a hard time about Kennedy losing to Eastview in the 4A championship in 2014.
Right.
But we're fans, we can do that. Or Holy Angels and their dominance. But, I'm a Vikings fan, so yes, 98 stings a little bit. Another foul on the Titans.
I think the ref might have got that one wrong. I was looking right at that play. Hottinger might have tripped over her own feet or got tangled with someone else. I don't think there was a push there, but hey, that's part of the game.
Well, and with the nature of this game and how physical it's getting, the officials might be trying to put a leash on it before the teams really go
gets
after
out of
each
control.
other. I got over the 38-7 with the Eagles-Vikings, so...
I thought that game would have been a little closer. I was kind of disappointed, honestly. Especially coming off a win like that. That was absolutely crazy against the Saints.
Oh, nice move from Chevre to Ekereke.
And that was the same play the Titans scored on early on in the second half. They might want to keep going back to that play. It seems to be working for them.
The Chevre to Ekereke connection,
Wow.
and Cretin throws it away.
She almost took the ref out.
So that was either a bad pass or Cretin voicing their displeasure at the officiating of this game. I'm going to go with the former.
Longest yard.
I'm going to go with the former. I'm going to say that was a bad pass.
Yeah, I hope so.
Cummings.
That looked good from here.
Tartan still unable to hit their threes. And Cummings is coming off a solid game against White Bear Lake in the quarters. Raiders up by 9. They are the favorites as the 1 seed. Anderson Manning drives, banks it
Great
off the
take
glass.
with the left hand. Tartan comes right back. They're pushing the tempo. Great pass.
And a late foul. That will send Ekereke to the line, but that's an example of ball movement. Ekereke, that's another layup you like to have, but you caught Cretin out of position there.
And you did get the foul on that. Tartan is already doing more of what they didn't do in the first half. They're getting more movement on offense, and it's paying off dividends for them.
So Ekereke shooting 2, an honor roll student, plays soccer, basketball, track and field, also volunteers on mission trips, shelters, working with kids. And I spoke to her for a story I'm doing on Chevre for SCC, Kendra. She's a great interview subject, too. In fact, all of the Tartan players I interviewed are well-spoken. There's some folks, and at this level, it's tough. You usually aren't used to having a mic in front of your face, but I'll give credit to Tartan's athletes. They are well-spoken, and they are not shy about having a camera in front of them.
Some about Tartan.
Stillwater, on the other end, half the team is afraid to go on camera.
Wow. It is kind of nerve-wracking, I will say that.
If you're a teenager, you're worried about not sounding foolish. I get it. I think everyone underestimates how smart they are, how well-spoken they are. Oh, nice move by Chevre going behind the back. Ekereke going to Chevre.
Great
hesitation. This is why Chevre is drawing so much attention as a sophomore.
They got to get back on defense. There you go.
9-point game. Again, a game that Tartan has hung around. Cretin got on the big run early, but they haven't been able to put this one away since. Haley Moore goes
That's
up.
too easy.
Well, free throw's coming, and I believe that is the 4th on Cummings.
And so that's a bad defensive possession because not only do you leave someone wide open, you run out on discipline. Thankfully, she misses the layup, but then you give up the rebound.
And so McKinney has to go back in. Autumn Mendez, though, has struggled at the line. Yeah, Cummings, how much things changed. She had 21 in the win over White Bear Lake, led all scores. Didn't get the game winner, of course, but it's amazing how the things can change over the course of a game, but Mendez is unable to capitalize at the line. So
that's kind of the nature of the game. You could find yourself having the game of your life one game, and then the next game you're like, what?
And that floater by Meister has me going, what? I thought that was good. I did not think that was
great
going
rebound. In. Look up.
Hottinger missing on the other end for the Raiders. Titans, they've got it down to 7. And against higher level teams, we've seen them come out to play. Against Montemedi in the first meeting, they could have won that one. Came up a bit short.
Right, as I said, they're the underdogs most of the times they play teams. So they have nothing to lose. If they come out here and they just play teams tough, you'd be surprised what could happen.
Tartan has a way of hanging with the bigger teams. Sydney Jackson finds Mendez. Gets her own miss. 3-ball. Threes are not going in today for anybody.
Right.
Maybe it's this gym. Maybe it's just, that kind of night.
The Titans are still having trouble rebounding, too, as well. Cretin seems to keep getting in there somehow.
And now you send Cretin's best player to the line for 2 more. Frannie Hottinger. Tartan out of fouls to give again, too.
We're not even halfway through this half either, and Cretin is already in the bonus.
Again, a side effect of Tartan's style of play. I mean, it's no secret they're going to come at you. They don't shy away from it, and I can respect that.
I can too. I mean, the way they play now, the team that I played on, I wish we kind of had some of this fire that they have.
Chevre called for the offensive foul. That's your third personal. We've got a timeout called by Tartan, I believe. And if you're Justin Burgess, you're going to call it just to settle things down here.
Right. Titans have been in this game since the beginning. They kind of hung around. They've gotten down, but not down by too much. You can attest that to some of their defense. Their defense is kind of their rise and their fall. It helps them stay into the games, but it also gets them into a little bit of trouble. So that's one of the things you kind of got to live with, though, because it's one of those things that helps your team a lot. So just keep staying aggressive. You're down 8 points. There's a lot of time left on the clock.
.10:31 to be precise.
And I think for the people watching back at home, this Titan team is really young. They're really, really young, and they're playing against a more experienced team, and they're still in this game, which I think is pretty amazing.
And whether or not you win, that's a positive you can take with you to next year. And this isn't new. Like, this isn't unprecedented. It's Sydney Jackson. This is a three, and then is fouled by Brianna Bell, so she'll shoot three. But this isn't unprecedented, as I mentioned with Montevideo.
Right.
They got it within two. Mm-hmm. Could have won that one, got a little bit jumpy at the end.
Right.
Again, a young team. So to compete as well as they have, in spite of a short roster, not having everyone that they would like to. No Aurora Roberts tonight, for example. In the Montevideo game, Maester wasn't available.
Right.
This is a team where everyone, all the coaches who follow this sport, I guess they're going to call it 101 for Jackson. It was after the shot. That's why so many coaches are praising this Tartan team and saying, look out for this group next year.
Definitely.
They're not saying that to be nice. They truly think the
They
Titans
play hard.
will be a force.
They play really hard. That's one thing that I'm noticing about this team. And as a coach, that's really the only thing that you can ask for, to give 110% effort, to give it your all every time you step out on the floor.
Tartan calling timeout there, full timeout. And Justin Burgess, this is his first year. And as you know, first-year coaches, I don't know if you had a coaching change in your playing days.
When I was in I had multiple.
You had multiple.
I had 3 different coaches I played since 7th grade, so
okay,
6
so
years.
you had, no wonder why you got 3,000. You had an early start.
Well, I actually didn't really start scoring until my sophomore
Lies.
year. No, I'm serious.
Lies.
I scored.
You probably put up 1,000 your freshman year.
7th and I don't think so. I scored a little bit, but we had 2 other seniors that were pretty good on that Tartan team. And then once they graduated, it was I was the only one left as far as being the leader and the scorer. And then that's when my scoring went up almost exponentially.
I don't know. I think you're giving me fake news there, Tia.
I'm serious. 7th and 8th grade. We can go back and look in the stats book.
Or I'm sure maybe there's some video. Maybe there's some video out there too. Maybe your mother still has some tape. That'll be fun to watch.
Speaking of video, I will say I'm very impressed with the amount of video that's circulating around women's basketball nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Especially during AAU.
AAU in high school.
Right, kind of how it's always been like that for the guys, but at least when I played it even before, it was never like that. And it makes me wonder, I wonder if I had that much video exposure that these kids have now, would that make a difference in my recruiting, the schools I was getting recruited by, maybe how far out I was getting recruited, like the California schools and things like that. And so that's pretty impressive. I'm glad that shows that women's basketball is taking a step in the right direction.
I'll give you a couple of examples of my personal collection. De La Salle Como Park, a game I called 2 years ago, over 250,000 hits. That was Andrea Adams her senior year. Mm-hmm. And the Stillwater Tartan game I called has over 50,000 this year.
Wow.
But again, Chevre has that following. Andrea Adams, as her career evolves at St. John's, Chevre going to the line for 2. As that continues to evolve, these players, I get it. Folks want to see these big names. Andrea was that kind of playmaker, and Chevre, I think, could be just that in a couple of years. But
it's really amazing, though. I mean, they get video reels in one day, and they like put it together in like real time, and I'm like, wow, like I love the exposure. I hope it continues to grow, because if you are one of the top players in your state, I think everyone across the country should know about it.
Autumn Mendez picks up her 4th foul, and Chevre, look at the sophomore. She already is getting some college looks.
Right.
And she still has a long way to go and a long way to grow. See what I did there? But Justin Burgess in his first season, and you went through some coaching changes. I won't forget your last one, Charlita Williamson, because I covered her as a football player for the Minnesota Machine.
Right.
And I had no idea that she was a basketball coach, so I thought it was hilarious.
Right.
Well, I guess if there's anyone who could give you a send-off, I hate when that happens. As a fan, I hate when that happens.
What?
When they miss down low like that.
Oh, yeah.
But if there's anyone who could give you a send-off, it would be a fellow athlete who knows
Of
what
course.
it's like to be in the trenches. I guess if you ever wanted to take up football, Charlita could give you some pointers.
I actually did play football in 8th grade.
Well, we have the Vixen. You could always get back into it.
I think I'm good on that.
You'll stick to basketball. I don't blame you. But what I've seen, that's going to be another foul on Ekereke. Free throws coming. What I've seen with Justin Burgess, it hasn't been, peaches and cream all the time. There have been some tough losses. That's the first on Kendra. But when I speak with the parents, and Tia is connecting with a rather young fan here, but when I speak with the parents of Tartan, whether it's Michael Cummings or Ysareia's dad, Jerry, I see a positive culture. The parents are all supportive of one another, and Michael Cummings is a good friend of a mutual friend of mine, Patrick Adams, who runs Charity Warriors, and so that's how he found out about me.
Right.
Everyone seems to know who I am, apparently. Chevre
You're
goes
too popular out here for me, Mike. I go away for 4 years, and you take all my popularity.
One of my friends who went to North, as Lizzie Ettinger hits the mid-range J, said, I'm more popular at North than she was as a student. Chevre looking for the answer. Too strong. Rebound Ettinger. But that's a good sign. Butler. I'm sorry. I hate it. When you're down low like that, point blank, I want to see teams finish.
Especially when there's no one in sight.
I'm spoiled because I watch the Lynx all the time, and they usually get it done. But sometimes it's harder than it looks.
It's really not. I will say that.
Well, Bell missing a couple on the other end for the Titans. 8 minutes to go. Cretin still up by 9. Tartan, they've hung around, haven't made a serious threat. But to build a program that hasn't had a lot of success in recent years, that's what you need.
Definitely. Culture is probably the biggest aspect of anything. I mean, I'm a business major, so we talked about culture a lot. It's the basis of a company in its entirety. And if you have a bad culture or a weak culture, 9 times out of 10, your company is going to fail. Your team is going to fail. And so if you can build a good culture, it may not happen right away. It takes a while to build. But Justin Burgess is on the right track.
And he has a pedigree. Look at Matamidi before Emma Grotehouse came in. School with only 4 wins. Now they are the 1 seed again in their section. Have a good chance to make it to state.
Both teams are getting some really good looks at the basket, but they just can't seem to knock it down.
And if you're Woodbury, that's something you'll keep an eye on. You surely don't want to let them get open. Well, there's somebody who's not going to miss down low, Freddie Hottinger. But whoever wins this game, you cannot afford that against Woodbury, because Rachel Hakes will take you to school, as we saw tonight with Stillwater.
She played great today versus Stillwater. Like you said, they can't afford to miss bunnies. It's going to be a great game. This is a great game. Earlier today was a great game. It's going to come down to who can make the most shots, and you might as well take advantage of the easy shots.
We'll have to see who moves on. 6:57 to go as Chevre adds to her total. And that's why when folks think that Tartan could be along the likes of Cretin next year in this section. And maybe next year with Emma Grothaus graduating, she's going off to Lehigh, one of the new pipelines for Minnesota talent.
Right.
That could open things up for Tartan. Simley's got a young team too that has some young talent that could make some noise. Justina Butler gets a friendly bounce. So the Metro East looking to have a shakeup next year. And that might be a frustration foul.
Right.
Cummings couldn't get going, and if Cretin hangs on to that, that's going to be one of those things where you go from 21 to nothing.
Right.
21 to nothing burger. And I know you've had your games like that.
Oh.
Well, in your case, I don't know what your lowest it was, but well, you mentioned even early on, you had some games where you put up 30 or 40, or the game where you scored 55, and then the next night you could end up with 10.
You're exactly right. I mean, I know for a fact when I told you that section game versus Stillwater, it was one of the worst games of my life. I only scored 19 points. That might have been one of my lows.
I'd say you've rebounded nicely.
Yeah. Honestly, those moments seem so big, and I was hurt about it for probably a week. And now 4 years later, you really don't even remember it that much. Like, you'll remember it, but it doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things, especially when you play at the next level.
Justina Butler gets the steal and scores. She's up to 4. And a technical foul on the Titans. And it's on Butler. Wow, wonder what she said down there. I think
I'm
maybe
not
she
sure.
wanted a foul, or what are you doing? If you're up by 13, Butler gets hit with a tee.
I thought that was at Tartan.
No.
On Tartan at first.
No, Tartan doesn't have a number 1. This is not Tia's night. Well, that finally gets her on the board. And that's the 4th on Butler. Technicals count as personals. I'm not sure if she thought she was fouled and said something to the refs, or was drawn at
Maybe
somebody.
she was taunting.
Taunting, maybe that's what it was.
I got in trouble for that a lot.
But why are you doing that? You're up by 12. You don't need. And now that may be it.
Sometimes, though, you get into the flow of the game and you get super passionate about it and you want everybody to know about it.
Well, Justina Butler just fouled out as a result. So she'll have to ride the bench for the rest of this one with 6:01 to go.
Ride the pine.
You do come off as someone, not to say you're a malicious trash talker, but I could see when you mention it and knowing the kind of player you were, I could see how because you are certainly not shy about expressing yourself.
Exactly.
And you are definitely proud of yourself. You don't shy away from your opinions.
I mean, it depends on the player. I'm the type of player, I feed off of that energy. So if I'm giving you a hard time and I'm giving you fits, I want everybody in the gym to know about it. Some players aren't like that at all. Kelsey Mitchell, for instance, who plays at Ohio State.
Right.
She's one of the most quiet players ever. She'll give you 40 points and won't say a word about it.
Taylor Hill's another one.
Exactly. If I give you 40 points, you're going to know about it. Nothing malicious about it. It's just the nature of the game.
Maya Moore comes to mind, too.
Yeah.
She almost always deflects to her teammates.
Exactly, but then you think of people like Simone Augustus. If Simone's giving you buckets, you will know about it.
Oh, yes. Wayland's another one. She's not afraid to get in your face a little bit.
Most people would think Wayland is quiet, but when it comes down to crunch time, she does not mess around.
Sylvia Fowles, too. Sylvia kind of goes, she's a little bit of both. You have to get to know her a little bit.
Right.
But she and Simone, they are goofballs. They often have fun at my expense.
Right. That's what a lot of people have to understand about me as a high school player, as a player, period. On the court, I'm way different than I am off the court. So I'm really intense when I play, and it may come off to some people as, oh, got to stay away from her. But then once they get to know me outside,
that was my first reaction when I saw you.
I like it that way. Especially if I'm playing.
My first thought when I saw you play is if I'm not careful, if I mess with her too much, she's going to punch me in the face.
That's that intimidation factor. You gotta You got to have something when you're only 5.5.
I suppose that's true.
Not too many people are going to look at me and be like, oh, I'm scared.
Not until you put 40 on them.
Exactly.
Chanel Anderson Manning splits. But each player, it's about managing it. I've seen some players. Well, Samantha Perhalis comes to mind. She was someone who couldn't control her emotions as well. Great player at Ohio State. Her pro career fizzled out as a result. She's coaching now in high school, but you kind of wonder what might have been if she had a more positive demeanor about herself.
Right. I will say it's definitely something that you have to manage. Being an intense player like that, I had growing pains because I've always been like that. And as you get older, you have to realize.
You have growing pains?
Yes.
Growing pains
really
at 5'5"?
funny, really funny. But
all right, I'll show myself out.
You just have to kind of learn how to manage it. It's nothing wrong with it, but it can be something wrong if you don't know how to manage it. That's the same thing with being a quiet player. If you're a leader on the floor, you have to be somewhat vocal. You can't just be quiet all the time, especially when you're the superstar on the team. And so you have to manage it in both ways, and that's just with anything. And once you get that down to a T, then you can be the best player you want to be.
What did they tell you about communication?
My big thing was tone.
Meister spin move. Late foul on Moore. Cretin-Derham Hall fans expressing their opinion on the call in a partisan way, but they're Cretin fans. I think you would expect that.
Don't we all?
Right. And with Haley Moore, even though she committed the foul, she's not going to go D1 right away the same way as Chrissy Carr, but the two played on AAU for years. They're best of friends, and Chrissy, when she found out that Haley Moore made her college commitment, she said the toughest part about being in Kansas was not seeing her best friend sign her NLI. Right. And I know you made a lot of friends, that AAU team of yours, North Tartan.
That I'm still friends with until this day. I mean, you definitely create such a strong bond. AAU, even more so than high school. Maybe
right, you travel together. Frannie Hottinger scores. And I think in your case, you went down to the wide world of sports, so you're making these long road trips. You're together on weekends. Tia Cummings.
And also, I mean, we won a lot on North Tartan.
They usually do.
Yeah.
Look at all the players that have come through there.
I think that kind of adds to it as well because everyone likes winning. It makes it an easy atmosphere to make friends. When you're losing, that's kind of hard to do.
Right. Ekereke picks up her third. From the looks of it, Cretin, they're going to hang on here unless something strange happens with 4:27. And for Tartan, it's tough because they have been hanging around, and it felt like, kind of like Stillwater. A few more threes, they might be in this, and maybe a little more efficient too down low. But this is the building block, and sometimes growing a program is gradual.
You're exactly right, but I wouldn't be so sure. I mean, they're only down 13 points. It's a little under 5 minutes left. That's still a lot of time.
It is, but they need a few things to go their way. But Emma Grothaus with Matamidi, for example. They went from 4 wins to 17, but it took them a little while to become the powerhouse that they are.
Right.
Hopkins didn't build overnight. Neither did UConn.
Sure seems so, though.
It seems so now, but UConn, I think Gino Oriema, his first year had a losing record. Cheryl Reeve had a losing record in her first season with the Lynx. I don't think anybody would. Nobody brings that up now.
Right.
Everyone's got to start somewhere. And we've got a timeout. I think Cretin called it. They did. 4:07 left.
You definitely have to crawl before you can walk. I remember when I first started at Tartan, we were not very good. And then towards the last end of my career, we were winning 18 games. And 2 years before that, we had won 8. So
you were competitive, and of course, I saw your name among the scoring lists. Because you were part of that great group of players who just was not afraid to put up points. Carly Wagner, Rebecca Dahlman a year before you, had over 5,000, a record that I don't know anyone.
It's unbelievable.
I don't think anyone's ever going to break it.
No. Not in our lifetime, at least. Maybe another.
Well, then again,
maybe in
we
3021.
thought Katie Ohm and then Taylor Hill, it's like, who's going to be the next one?
True.
But you have to start young, and you have to
You definitely have to start young.
Right. Well, and Andrea Adams won the state scoring race in her junior season. Another one of those players where a bit unheralded at the start of her career turned into a standout player. Did you know Andrea's father was once a buddy of Prince?
Really? I did not know that, and I've known Andrea for a very long time.
Don't tell her, don't tell him I said this, but Andrea's father, actually, this is how tight they were. They both went to the same high school, Minneapolis Central, so that's what started the connection. And Andrea's father, before he became a basketball guru, had a bit role in the Prince film Graffiti Bridge.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Purple Rain, so that's probably why nobody remembers it. As well, if it had been Purple Rain, we'd all be watching that clip. Ekereke makes both free throws. She's up to 9. Cretin's up by 11 here. Both teams in the double bonus. Andrea's another one of those players. She doesn't rub it in your face per se the way you did, but if she put up big numbers, she turned into a beast. She knew when to take over, and Freddie Hottinger knows when to take over too. And Woodbury, they're going to have a handful with Frannie Hottinger. And again, a team that will be looking for some payback after the February meeting. Ekereke with a nice drive.
Tartan isn't going all the way away, at least. They're trying to hang in there.
Like I said, they're competing, and this is what you want to see. I
exactly.
think whoever, White Bear Lake or Tartan, whoever got through that quarter was going to be an underdog here. That's a foul on Meister. But you're looking for the long-term outlook. You're looking for signs that you're competing. That
you're not giving up.
Right.
Playing until the last whistle.
Exactly. You are doing your best. I hate, it's a cliche, but trying it. You're playing to win. And when you watch the tape and start building up on the practices and routines for next year, this is going to be the thing you look back on. Hey, we got close to Mahtomedi. Game they probably should have won if you're a Tartan fan. We played pretty well with Cretin. If we can do that
on a consistent basis,
just think of the opportunities and the potential we have next year.
And just think if Tartan had hit a couple threes. Have they hit any threes this game?
No. Nobody has hit a 3 in this game. I take that back. Ettinger hit 1. That rim has been sealed shut from outside the arc, it seems.
I guess so.
If you're Tartan anyway. But it happens.
If she can hit both free throws here, they'll cut it to 9. Under 10.
And you never know with both teams in the double bonus. This is Angelina Mims.
Oh.
That one just missed the mark.
I think it a little bit more than just missed.
But more importantly, you go over the notes and you look at all of the after-school activities, all of the community involvement, the multi-sport participation for all of these players.
She makes up for it with that one.
Angelina Mims working with special needs kids, working to make a difference with bullying. Chevre community involvement. She and TK and Tia Cummings working as refs in youth leagues. Tartan and Cretin. Cretin has plenty of those as well. You are seeing the makings of upstanding citizens.
Exactly.
In a game like this, and not every school has that. St. Paul Central, for example, they've come apart at the seams. And you can tell when a team is just checked out. These two haven't.
That's the best part about it, though. It's not all about the basketball. It's what you do for your community. And the thing that's amazing to see with the Tartan Titans is that these players are so young and they're already trying to make a difference in their community. Some people don't decide to make a difference until very, very late in life because they figure, I'm too young, what can I possibly do? But these young ladies have taken it upon themselves to say, it doesn't matter how old I am, I can make a difference some way, somehow.
I think of the cliche, what kind of difference can I make? More than you think. As we've seen, with a lot of the initiatives that have taken place in the political landscape over the last few months, and even here, that's something a lot of coaches preach. I'm sure you had your share of community participation when you were in high school, and it just reminds you that the world is a lot bigger than you. And you've talked about how the lowest point in your career was losing a section quarterfinal to Stillwater. One of my good friends, Brianna Edwards, lost a state tournament game against St. Michael Albertville. She went to Minneapolis. She was playing for Minneapolis North. The Pullers were up by 12. Looked like they were going to win. STMA made the come from behind effort here. Ekereke gets the steal, and Tartan really needed a bucket there. Well, they still have possession with the jump ball. You know, one of the lowest points of Brianna's career, and she worked out. She played a full 4 years at Providence and is now working at California Lutheran University.
Wow.
It was always a dream of hers to be in SoCal for a part of her life, and she's getting that chance now. And Ysareia Chevre, doesn't matter what the score is, she's not going to give up.
That's kind of been the story of the game. The Titans come up with a big basket, but then they give it right back up to Cretin on a transition bucket.
These are two teams that like to use transition plays. Nevaeh Meester adds to her total. And you got to give props to Tartan.
For sure. They came out, they played really hard. They were the underdog in this.
Right.
And they kept it a good game.
They were technically the underdog in the quarterfinals. They had to go on the road, beat a White Bear Lake team they hadn't seen all year. Kendra Ekereke got the buzzer beater. For the casual fan, that may not mean much.
Right.
To get knocked out in the section semis, but for Tartan, it means that you got a chance to play here. You got a chance to test yourself against a high-tier opponent.
Especially, as you said earlier, they're kind of experiencing their down years right now, kind of after I graduated. This is big.
Why did you have to graduate?
This is big for them, you know what I mean? Like, to be kind of rebuilding, trying to get everything figured out, and you come here, you get a section quarterfinal win, and then you come here and you compete in the semifinals. They've already outdone expectations that people probably have for them at the beginning of the season.
And another upstanding citizen in the case of Tartan, Dejanay McKinney, one of the two seniors on this team who sees a lot of time, has plans to break the long jump record in track this year.
That's going to be fun. One of my good friends has that record, Angie Pro. I was there when she beat it.
And get this, she's going to have a bright future ahead of her. College will probably be paid for it because she's already been accepted to 6 HBCUs. That's historically black colleges and universities, for those who don't know. Wants to major in business management and accounting. Hasn't figured out where she wants to go, but when you've been accepted to 6 HBCUs,
you have your
that's
options.
a tough choice. What was that like for you? I know you picked Marquette. They had the coaching change and went to Indiana, but how tough was that choice for you? Because I'm guessing you had a few schools that gave you some offers.
Choose a college?
Yeah.
It honestly was the hardest thing ever. Believe it or not, I don't like hurting people's feelings. I don't like telling people no. It's very hard for me to tell people no. And with all of the schools that I had recruiting me in high school, that was the hardest thing for me to do. It's hard because you build a relationship with these coaches, and you don't want to tell them no. Like, that's probably one of the hardest, and I still struggle with that till this day. It's just something, that's why I always say I will never get into HR, because I could never get into the business of firing people.
Or telling people no, or...
Exactly. Because I'm not good at it.
I'm not either. It's hard. It's hard to tell people no when they.
You would think though, with someone who has an outgoing personality like me,
you outgoing, inconceivable.
It's hard for me to tell people no. I will say, like, it's like I literally lose sleep over it. Lose hair, like, both times.
No, don't lose your hair. Look what happened to me. Although some bald men go on to be captain of the Enterprise.
Exactly.
At least you picked up on that one. I thought that might have predated you, but Star Trek has a little more staying power.
Right.
So 60-51, a little over a minute left. Cretin looks like they're going to hang on here. I don't know if we'll be back here next Thursday. I know you won't be because you have to make money and be the hustler that you are in the hotel business, that is.
Wheeling and dealing.
Yes, rooms and card keys, room service,
and customer service.
Woo! Cretin-Woodbury, if that's the matchup, who do you like to get out of Section 4 and into state?
As far as thinking, who do I think will win? Just seeing both teams play today, I'm gonna go with Cretin. I feel that they're more balanced. They get up and down the floor, which is good. And defensively, they're actually not bad, especially if teams decide they want to be stagnant. They have Hottinger, who played amazing tonight, and they have that leadership that you were talking about early on.
Leadership that Tartan hopes to attain one day and maybe next year. Kind of a strange game, though. Autumn Mendez gets on the board. Mendez and Cummings, two regular contributors, struggled tonight, but that's how the game goes sometimes. Again, Cretin was the favorite, so this may not be a surprising result when you've got a 1 and a 4 or 1 and a 5. But for Tartan, you're looking at the little things. I know it's going to suck tonight because no matter what, if you're a team that is confident that you can go in and win every game, Meister fouls out, she'll finish with 10. Losing sucks, as you've told us a few times tonight.
Losing always sucks.
And losing in the playoffs in the single elimination games hurts even harder because that's the end of your season.
Exactly.
But there are a lot of little things that Tartan accomplished this year that should resonate with this team.
It should, and they'll all look back on this success that they had. The end of the season, the buzzer beater, those are moments you're never going to forget. Get into semifinals, competing with possibly the top team in this section. You'll never forget that.
Did you ever have a buzzer beater in your career?
Yes, I have. I think they all came in AAU, though. I don't remember any high school.
Never in high school? Well, you were so busy. You had so many points, there'd be no way you'd remember. So Ekereke goes up to 13. Kind of a slog to end this game. The second half was a foul fest, but again, these are two aggressive teams. We expected that. And so the favored team won. Again, this is not a surprising result, but Tartan, they're still playing to the end.
Right.
They're gonna play their game.
They definitely should be proud.
Well, and as we said, they played to win. And as we saw earlier this week with Marshall Wasika, that doesn't always happen.
Exactly.
But with Minneapolis South upsetting Ysareia, with Park Center knocking off Centennial. No upset for Tartan tonight, but it demonstrates that
they're not too far off.
If you go in there thinking you have a chance at winning, it just might happen. Well, Autumn Mendez won't get any field goals tonight. At least she gets a couple points at the line. And I certainly hope you and I can make a habit out of broadcasting because it's been a lot of fun having you alongside me again.
It has been fun, Mike. I've enjoyed myself. It's always fun to watch a good basketball.
This is where you belong, on the basketball court. This is where you made your name.
I'm retired now, though.
Well, you're retired, but, I saw all the Tartan players and parents. You may be a retired player these days, but
it's good to leave a legacy.
This is your home, the basketball gym. So Cretin will move on with a 63-53 win over Tartan. It was a long one. It took a little while to get through that second half. Cretin, again, that experience. They go on a big run to start the game. That's all they needed. Tartan, they played well and didn't let it get to a blowout, and that's one of those positives you can take. Again, it may not feel that way tonight, but Cretin excited because they know they get the chance to play for state. But, props to the Raiders for a well-played game, and for Tartan, this could just be the start of bigger things to come.
Definitely. The Titans are very young. As a fellow alum. I'm very proud of them. They're really young. They'll be good in the years to come. Congratulations to Cretin-Derham Hall, though. They came out, they played a great game, and they deserve to move on to the next round.
Frannie Hottinger finishing with 26 to lead all players. Lizzie Ettinger with 12. Those are your notables for the Raiders. Tartan led by Ysareia Chevre with 22, Kendra Ekereke with 13, and Nevaeh Meester with 10. But I think the biggest winner tonight was Tia, and seeing all those familiar faces.
Yeah, it's always
seeing
fun.
you return. Well, like I said, basketball, your family. You may be retired, but you're not getting. You're going to be family for life in this sport. That's why I said this is where you belong, because your family's here.
Thank you,
and
Mike.
I'm just glad to be a part of it. So that'll wrap things up here from Hastings High School. The 4A semifinals are complete. Cretin and Woodbury will battle for the right to play in state. I can't wait for next week. Those section finals are always a good time. It's always cool to see who will win tonight. But we had a couple of good games, and we'll hope to see some good ones next week. So hopefully we'll have to do some AAU or maybe some semi-pro ball. Well, we'll find some games for you. So thanks for stopping by, Tia,
No problem.
And thanks to all of you who stuck with us tonight for 4A section playoff action. For Tia, Elbert, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching high school girls basketball.